This is Dinner Decoded. One main ingredient, two meals. One for when you only have 30 minutes, and one for when you might have an hour. Both are complete dinners. Both use real technique. The difference isn't whether you're cooking properly, it's about what you can actually do with the time you have. Every episode is built around this same framework. 30 minutes means fewer ingredients, simplified preparation, and a short cooking sequence. You're making decisions about flavor and assembly. The technique is efficient and targeted. An hour or more means you can start building and layering things. More ingredients, more steps, more depth. And crucially, you can extract more from the same central ingredient, because time lets you do things a 30-minute version can't. Today's ingredient, a rotisserie chicken, one of my favorite dinner hacks. 30 minutes, you're gonna get pasta salad, chopped chicken, sautéed vegetables, a bright creamy dressing, done. An hour, you're getting a Spanish-style chicken and rice, using stock made from the carcass, smoky Portuguese sausage, toasted rice, and flavorful vegetables. It's the same chicken, but different decisions. Before either path starts, the bird gets pulled, and the way you pull it does matter to a certain degree. Thighs and legs first. They separate cleanly at the joint and give you the most flavorful meat on the bird. More fat, more connective tissue that's already broken down from the rotisserie process. Pull along the bone in large pieces. Don't shred everything immediately. The breast meat can come off in two larger clean halves if you pull it with the grain. For the pasta salad, you want somewhat bite-sized chunks rather than a fine shred. Something that will match up roughly with the size of the pasta noodles and chopped veg. For the rice dish, the meat is going to be mixed in with the rice, sausage, and veg, so a rougher shred is fine for some textural contrast. Alright, let's get going on our pasta salad. The water for our pasta goes on first, and since we're using a shallower sauteur with less water, it's going to come to a boil faster than a large pot. While that happens, we'll begin with our mise en place. And we've got our 30-minute timer going here. Corn, still in the husk, goes straight into the microwave, 6 minutes on high. The husk traps steam and the corn cooks in its own moisture. There's no pot, no waiting for water to boil. Slice the bottom end off when it's done, and the husk and the silk will come off cleanly in a few pulls. Next, the rest of our vegetables. Zucchini, red onion, and green onion. The zucchini is going to go into the pan with the onions. This isn't a raw assembly. You're getting a quick saute on the veg so they soften slightly and pick up a little bit of color. There's better texture in the finished salad, and the slight char on the zucchini will add more than a raw one would. Snap peas get sliced on the bias. These go in separately at the end. They only need a minute. If they go in with the zucchini, they'll overcook and become mush. Pasta goes into the salted boiling water. I'm cooking the noodles through since there's no sauce to finish cooking in this preparation. Cold food also firms up as it sits, and this pasta is going to absorb a lot of the dressing. When the veg is done, take it off the heat and spread it out on a plate or tray. You want them to cool before they go into the salad. Hot vegetables on dressed pasta will just get soggy and might even cause your dressing to separate and get oily. The dressing next. Greek yogurt is our base. It gives you tang and body without the heaviness of full mayo. We add just enough mayo to add richness and help everything emulsify. Dijon for bite and to add as an additional emulsifier. Agave for a little sweetness to balance the acid. Paprika for color and a background warmth. Lemon juice to brighten everything up. And of course, salt and pepper. Taste it now and make it stronger than you think it needs to be. Cold mutes flavor. Your palate is less sensitive to salt and acid at lower temperatures. Whatever you season this to warm, it's going to need more once everything is cold. Make it assertive. When our pasta is finished, drain it and briefly rinse with cold water. This is one of the rare cases where rinsing is the right call. You're stopping the cooking and cooling it quickly so it doesn't overcook in the dressing. In a pasta salad, the starchy surface coating you'd normally want to hold a hot sauce is less critical than temperature control. Our corn gets shucked and then cut directly off the cob. Our sautéed vegetables can go straight into the bowl. and our chicken gets chopped and folded through. You want decent sized pieces in every forkful, so make sure it's not too fine of a chop. Taste it. It will almost certainly need more lemon and more salt at this point. Dress it again. Cold pasta salads are chronically under-seasoned, and this is where you fix that. I'm going to add some pickled red onion I had in the fridge and some cilantro to finish. The acidity in the pickled onion can cut through the creamy dressing. The cilantro lifts the whole thing. And there you have it. 30 minutes, one bowl. The rice dish is a different kind of cooking. Same chicken, but here you're using the whole bird, not just the meat. We're putting the carcass into a pot with water to build a stock that we can use to cook the rice. The extra time doesn't mean doing more work, it means doing work that matters. While our carcass is becoming stock, let's work on the rest of our mise en place. First, Portuguese sausage, cut into small cubes. This is the fat and the flavor base for the whole dish. It goes in first and it stays in the pan, infusing the oil. Fennel, diced to medium. Reserve the fronds, they go in at the end. Green onion, sliced. Garlic, finely minced. These will go in with the rice. Our asparagus and snap peas are sliced on the bias. Both go in near the end with the chicken when the rice is almost done. The sausage comes out once it's crisp and nicely caramelized. It'll go back in the end. You don't want to cook it twice through the whole rice process. The oil will stay, and that's what everything else builds on. Fennel and green onion go into the oil, medium-low. It's not a quick cook. You're sweating the fennel until it softens properly, probably about 5 minutes or so. Underdeveloped fennel in a rice dish has an unpleasant texture, so make sure you let it go. The rice and the garlic go in next. Toast them in the fat for 2 to 3 minutes. You want every grain to be coated. The garlic will infuse the fat while the rice toasts. The toasting is a technique. It coats the starch granules and gives the finished dish more structure, less stodge. Bring the pot with your stock over and begin to ladle it in. Season the liquid now. The rice is about to absorb it, which means this is the only chance to season the rice from the inside. 1, maybe 2 stirs to distribute everything evenly. Then the spoon goes down and it stays down. This is an arrose technique, not risotto, no more stirring. You're letting the bottom layer of the rice make contact with the pan and stay there. That contact is going to be how the crispy socarrat forms. We're not covering this with a lid. We're aiming for about 1.5 centimeters of liquid above the top of the rice. The top surface will dry out as the liquid absorbs. This will eventually also help the bottom crust form. Keep an eye on the surface. When it starts to look dry and you can see individual grains, you're close. Taste it after 15 minutes or so on medium-low heat. If it still has a hard bite and the stock is mostly absorbed, add a couple more ladles of stock. The chicken, shredded. Rougher than for the pasta salad. It's going to absorb some of the stock in the last few minutes and you want the pieces to have surface area for that. After a little more stock and a taste of the rice, you're looking for almost done. There should still be a faint bite in the center of the grain. The vegetables, the sausage, and the chicken can go in now and they'll finish together. Give everything a fold and cover for about 2 minutes. The spinach will wilt down and the snap peas and asparagus will just cook through. Take the lid off and make sure everything's incorporated. Then we're going to add some frozen peas straight from the bag. 1 more minute covered. They just need to warm through and they add color and a clean sweetness at the end that balances the paprika-rich base. Lid off and feel free to garnish with scallion ribbons, fennel fronds, cilantro, maybe a squeeze of lemon. Serve it straight from the pan. 30 minutes gives us this. A bowl of pasta salad that's properly dressed, properly seasoned, built around real vegetables, and the best flavored parts of the chicken. It's not a fallback, it's the right meal for the time. An hour gives you this. A pan of rice with a nice crust on the bottom, built on a stock that didn't exist 90 minutes ago. Same chicken, different decisions, both right. That's the framework for this series. Every episode, one ingredient, two paths. You decide what you have time for, and I'll show you what both versions look like when they're done properly. This is Dinner Decoded. New episode every week. If you want to know what's next, subscribe. If you want to see the technique that underlies the cooking in this series, the Technique Unlocked episodes are linked. 8 episodes, starts with pan temperature, ends with pasta water. Worth watching. I'll see you next week.